What's up, people? I was told not to do this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Um, Mario Cuomo and whoever you pencil pushers are out there changing this domestic dispute law, um, you really need to take a look at that because the way you changed it, you have given the opportunity for a level of classless women to abuse this law. Um, I've been on both sides of it. I've been the one that it's been against, and I've been the one that it's been for. Um, 10 years ago, when you guys changed this law, well, 18 years ago, when you changed the law, I got into an argument with my son's mother on the phone, and I was almost forced to have to do 6 months of shock camp. That was just for an argument on the phone. Um, Later on in life, fast forward, um, I had to go through the same thing with a classless woman who was taking advantage of the law and trying to use the law to her advantage. Now, out of 21 out of 23 years, I always heard a threat. I was in an interracial relationship. I would hear, yeah, all I gotta do is just call the police, and you're a black man, and I'm a white woman, and yeah, you watch. I'm gonna get even with you. I'm gonna get even with you. I heard that for 21 years. Threats like that. Threats like, oh, I'm gonna cause you to lose your job. I'm gonna do whatever it takes to cause you to lose your job if you do anything to hurt me or cause me any pain. Now, mind you, um, I wasn't the best boyfriend. I wasn't perfect. I made my mistakes, but you know, looking at somebody and hoping that they had the will and the strength to overcome these obstacles and continue to work on our relationship. Uh, I expected I had somebody with some kind of strength or some kind of class or dignity to them. But as time went on, I saw the classlessness and I saw the indignant actions of trying to do whatever they could possibly do to try to bring me down. Um, I just went through court. Had to file an order of protection to get this person away from me. And 5 days later, after they received the order of protection, I get a false charge placed against me. All right. Um, I had to go through some unnecessary nonsense, but that's how women are taking advantage of this law, and they have been doing it. So if Mario Cuomo or anybody wants to take a moment to actually look at this law and actually realize and think about and do some research and find out how many men are sitting inside of a jail cell because of a false charge, that we have to go above and beyond to prove that we didn't do it. Whereas a woman, all she's got to do is just say it, and we got a warrant for our arrest. I could be in Buffalo or Syracuse or any one of these surrounding towns, not even in the town that I'm in, which is Rochester, New York. And by the time I got back, there would be a warrant for my arrest, even if I did it or not. Now, these women are getting smarter or crafty, as you could say, in their abuse of the law, and it needs to stop. It truly needs to stop. I was told that, if to me speaking out and saying something about this unnecessary abuse of this law, that it wouldn't do any good and it wouldn't help anything. But you know what? I'm doing it anyway. Because if nobody says anything, then nothing is ever going to change. So I'm going to start this journey with this video, and I'm going to keep making them until something happens. Now, I've heard, like I said, I've heard all kinds of threats. You're a black man, I'm a white woman. All I gotta do is just make a phone call, and you'll be underneath the jail, motherfucker. You watch. I've heard that, like I said, that threat. I'm going to destroy you if you hurt me or if you leave me. I'm going to do whatever it takes to make sure that you lose your job, that you lose your car, you lose your house, you lose everything. Now, if I'd have went to jail for this nonsense, that's exactly what would have happened. And that was just out of spite. So this is what's going on in New York with this domestic dispute law, which is wrong. It shouldn't be said. It shouldn't be abused to the way it is. It should be used the way it is, the way it's supposed to be. Now, in being told by many police officers that it's all a matter of who gets to the phone first. Okay, I call 6 times between the month of May, June, in July. 6 times. The first 2 times an officer called up. The last 4 times, nobody showed up. Then I would get a phone call 2 to 3 hours later after the fact. Now, this had left me in a position to where I had to figure out what I was going to do. And what I was going to do was to defend my home at all costs. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I was going to do what I needed to do to defend my home. Now, as I was going to defend my home, I'd have been stuck underneath the stigma of a 25-year life term, or for the rest of my life of living underneath this person's name. Now, this person is not even worth me trying to dignify it as a woman because it had no womanly actions. So being pushed to that point, whereas the police are supposed to be mediators, and after the fact that it happened after the 6th time that I called, I saw many an example of how lopsided the law is. If a woman calls, there's 3 cop cars, 2 cops in each car, and there's 2 talking to the woman and 4 cops talking to the male. All right, now you see how lopsided that is. That's not fair. Now, if a man calls, they figure, hey, we're men, we can handle it ourselves. But if we're left too long to deal with a situation, the only other outcome is we're going to fight. And we're going to fight 100% to whatever threat we feel is causing us any kind of unnecessary problems or any kind of unnecessary stress. Now, with fighting comes either with our hands, with weapons, whatever the case may be, we will defend ourselves to the end. Well, I was coming out of that house and I was going to do whatever I needed to do possible to end this person's career completely. It was done. It was over. Now, the only person and the only people that I could think of that could understand that is a police officer or somebody in the military, because you have to make that decision on what you're going to do with that threat. Whether you're going to wound it to get it to understand that you've had enough, or you're going to kill it to make sure that it understands that you have had enough. Well, the latter of the two was where I was at. So, again, Mario Cuomo, the rest of you little pencil pushers in New York, in the capital, Albany, you need to reassess this law as being used and abused improperly, and it needs to stop. So if you guys take the time to sit down and do the research and figure out exactly what is being done with this law, we can straighten it out, and we won't have this lopsided nonsense going on with classless, indignant women trying to take advantage of this law because they know the law works in their side and nothing's going to happen to them. So again, Mario Cuomo and any other pencil pusher in Albany, get wind of this video, do some research, really look into it, look deep into it, and you'll see and understand exactly what I'm saying and why I say it and what needs to be done. So, here's journey number 1, and there's going to be more to come because I'm not going to stop until something is done. Thank you. Again, this is to Mario Cuomo and the rest of you pencil pushers in Albany.